that's one issue I would like to discuss during this convention as well. As something that's a topic that they have been talking about it, the different organizations. One says that they will, I think they will ban boxing for 2 years. I think I could have they think statement about it. And I think the idea that they found right, it's taking 1 year. I think we'll ban the boxing for a year, whatever it is. I think it's a little bit difficult.
The president of the World Boxing Association, Gilberto Mendoza, has decided to revoke Gervonta Davis's boxing license after a controversial incident in the 9th round of his recent fight against Lamont Roach. This decision comes after the WBA faced heavy criticism for what many saw as double standards in their handling of the situation. Many feel that referee Steve Willis, the judges, and the team overseeing the technical review unfairly robbed Lamont Roach of his 26th win.
Judge at the ringside, Eric Marlinsky scores it on 115 to 113 in favor of Gervonta Davis. Judges Steve Weisfeld and Glad the Feldman both scored it out 114 to 114, even a draw. The decision is a majority draw.
So, right. But you say you don't think he willing though. Whatever. See, but who cares? Like, sweat gonna get in your eye, blood gonna get in your eye. Yeah, don't matter. Spit fuck around and get in your eye. You know what I'm saying? But it's not like you can be like, all right, time out, ref. Hold on, ref. Time out. You can't do that.
Right. Would you be cool with Steve Willis doing the next fight?
Hell no.
He can't do the next fight.
No, he can't do the next fight.
The World Boxing Association had an opportunity to restore its reputation as an organization that doesn't show favoritism, but it failed to do so, disappointing many in the boxing community. There was a clear bias in favor of Gervonta Davis during the fight, despite the human and technical mistakes that took place. After reviewing the situation, the WBA chose not to change the outcome of the fight, which led to strong backlash from fans and professionals alike. Many criticized the WBA for their decision, voicing their frustration openly. In response, the WBA president has now taken the step of suspending Gervonta Davis's boxing license and has ruled out any chance of an immediate rematch, stating that Davis must serve a full 1-year suspension for his role in the controversy.
There's no studies about it. There's nothing that we could say which the pro or the amateurs, which one is dangerous and which one is not. I look forward to having whatever medical guidance we need to follow. And to develop in order to protect boxers. I'm really concerned on this matter and not jump ahead, because I do believe that the national WBA allows professionals to participate in different other sports.
Initially, the World Boxing Association, WBA, didn't make the same decision. After Gervonta Davis was caught off guard by Lamont Roach Jr., the WBA super featherweight champion, on March 1st, many were left shocked. The fight ended in a majority draw, tarnishing Davis's undefeated record, and fans were furious, especially after what happened in the 9th round. Davis unexpectedly took a knee, and referee Steve Willis ruled it a no knockdown, even though he had started a standing 10 count. It was later revealed that grease from Davis's hair had gotten into his eyes, making it hard for him to see. This incident directly affected the scoring and ultimately prevented Roach from winning the fight. A week later, the New York State Athletic Commission stepped in, revealing that a technical issue had prevented officials from reviewing replays of that controversial moment.
You guys calm down, listen to me. Hey, come on now. We're trying to get it. There you go. That's what you do. There you go.
After receiving a formal letter from Roach's team, the WBA began reviewing the incident, which many felt should have led to the draw being changed to a victory for Roach. However, in a now-deleted article on the WBA website, the organization tried to defend referee Willis's decision. The article argued that from their perspective, Willis's call wasn't unreasonable. It explained that Willis judged in real time that Davis hadn't been hit by a punch before going down, which is why he decided not to count it as a knockdown.
What you was thinking when Tank did that when he took the knee? What you was thinking when he took the knee?
I can't speak on that.
Can't speak on that?
Yeah.
You did some bullshit though?
I can't speak.
No personal opinion, nothing?
According to regulations, judges are required to follow the referee's rulings and do not have the power to override decisions on knockdowns. The WBA defended Willis's call, stating that some skeptics believed the decision unfairly favored Davis, but they disagreed with that view. After this report surfaced, the WBA faced significant backlash, which might explain why it was later removed from their website. However, the justification in the article sparked even more controversy, leading WBA President Gilberto Mendoza Jr. to issue an official statement regarding the now-deleted report.
And there will be a lot of energy, a lot of things to do, a lot of trying to find a plan to that's one thing because regarding the rest, I hope you could enjoy China, enforcement in China, this company.
I apologize for any confusion. To clarify, after the report came to light, a collaborator from the WBA's boxing website caused some controversy by expressing an opinion, leading WBA President Gilberto Mendoza Jr. to clarify the matter. He stated, "He doesn't belong to any committee, nor does he have any influence or opinion in any matter of our association." Meanwhile, Lamont Roach also shared his frustration on social media, tweeting, "Y'all tweaking if y'all think Buddy was off for some stuff or had an off night. That stuff is just different there with me. I told y'all from the start, just because I and everybody else too feel like I won, y'all acting like I said he was easy work or some stuff. The knockdown gives me a UD," referring to how he believes the knockdown should have led to a unanimous decision in his favor.
Oh, and that right, but Davis took off some of the steam of the punch, but still, Roblin was right.
He took a knee.
He took a knee.
You take a knee like that, that looks like a knockdown. All right? Back up.
That's a generous call from the
Did he not take a knee?
Not take them out. He took them out.
That's right.
After the controversial majority draw between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach Jr., World Boxing Association President Gilberto Mendoza began advocating for an immediate rematch. Mendoza felt that the controversy surrounding the fight justified a second bout, saying, "I think there's not going to be any doubt about having a rematch." He added in an interview with *The Ring*, "We need to send a strong message out there. If the WBA formally orders the rematch, Davis and Roach would have 120 days to reschedule the fight." Roach, who was seen as a major underdog, is now looking forward to his opportunity for redemption. On the other hand, Davis, aware of the backlash surrounding the incident with the knee, has expressed that he is open to a rematch. However, the future of this rematch is uncertain, especially now that Davis's boxing license has been suspended.
Oh, whoa. Oh, it's another comparison I don't want to make to Mike Tyson, but...
Nah, that's crazy. That's what he do, he get dirty. He know that.
It seems the report published on the World Boxing Association website was either a mistake or a highly opinionated perspective on the fight, which the WBA does not officially endorse. Still, it raises the question of what the New York State Athletic Commission will decide regarding the incident. Will Gervonta Davis face his first career loss, or will his influence and power in the sport allow him to escape unscathed? Davis's power and influence are key factors in this situation, especially considering how much the fight generated in revenue. According to sources familiar with the numbers, journalist Dan Raphael reports that the Davis vs. Roach fight sold at least 260,000 pay-per-view buys, with one source estimating the figure to be as high as 262,000. This significant financial success adds to the complexity of the situation.
Very much in this fight in the championship rounds.
Nice right uppercut, left hook. Oh, another right hand, another right left by Roach. Davis fighting on even terms here in the 11th. Both of them have landed same amount of punches.
Roach still talking to him.
And Davis eats the body shot. And another left hook, upstairs right hand. Left, oh, but there's a counter left from Davis.
The decision is a majority draw.
I let the...
When we take a closer look at the numbers, it becomes clear just how much the fight generated. With the event priced at $79.95, the pay-per-view revenue for the Davis vs. Roach fight across all platforms in the United States, including Prime Video, PPV.com, and traditional linear television, reached around $21 million. The attendance at the Barclays Center was also remarkable, with 19,250 fans in the stands, setting a new record for the venue in its 13-year history. This impressive turnout helped push the gate revenue to nearly $7 million, making it the second largest gate at the arena, just behind a Rolling Stones concert. The pay-per-view sales for the Davis-Roach fight also rank as the fourth best performance of the 8 pay-per-view events that Gervonta Davis has headlined. With all of this attention and financial success, the boxing world seems to be on hold, with Davis at the center of it all. As the WBA lightweight champion, Davis is now under intense scrutiny, and every move made by those involved is being watched closely. The WBA, however, made a small mistake in handling the situation and is now working to manage the fallout. Despite all the controversy, Lamont Roach is still determined to get the win he believes he deserves.
You know, obviously the part with the grease in the eye, that took on a life of its own, you know what I'm saying? That was a headline in the fight. One is, what did you think when he said that initially, just like the grease in the eye? But two is like, when you was in the fight, was there any point that you saw that? Like, did you see like him kind of messing with his eye, or did you have any indication that that was something that was bothering him?
No, see, and that's the thing. If you look at the whole fight, he was never bothering his eyes before I jabbed him.
Nearly 3 weeks after the WBA lightweight title fight between Gervonta, Tank Davis and Lamont Roach, the boxing world is still buzzing. The controversy surrounding the fight, especially Davis taking a knee in the 9th round and then having his face wiped in the corner, both of which were not penalized by referee Steve Willis, has kept the discussion going. But it's not just the fight itself that's sparking debate. The back-and-forth war of words between Roach and Davis has added even more drama and entertainment since the fight ended. Since then, Roach has been making the rounds on podcasts like Big Time Podcast where he continues to push the idea that he should have been declared the winner rather than the fight being ruled a majority draw. His efforts to keep the conversation alive about a potential rematch have kept the drama front and center. Roach has also been active on social media, where he sent out a post on March 18th that clearly riled up Tank's fan base, a move that was likely intentional on Roach's part to keep the feud simmering.
And that, like, you know what I'm saying, that kind of landed. He kind of rolled with it, but after that, you can see him wipe his eye. And then, right after I hit him with the jab, you can see him wipe his other eye. So it's like, it was corresponding to which hand that I punched him with and exactly which eye. So it's like crazy for him to say, it's grease in my eye. And I think even when he say that, you could see me, because I'm right beside him, you could see me like...
Roach stirred up more attention when he posted on X, asking, on some real stuff, why are some of you mad? A lot of people think I won the fight. I'm confused, gang. What's going on? Did I do something to you guys? The post quickly went viral, with over 215k views and 425 comments in less than 2 days. This is a classic move by a fighter trying to stir up interest and poke the opponent's fan base, and judging by the engagement and the number of comments from Davis's fans, Roach's post definitely got the reaction he was aiming for. Top boxing coach Teddy Atlas also weighed in, supporting Roach and offering an in-depth breakdown of the fight. Atlas explained that Roach, not just with his size and reach but with his mental toughness, showed the kind of nerve and confidence many fighters lack. Sometimes the safest place, believe it or not, is in the eye of the storm, Atlas said. Roach, according to Atlas, had the nerve to not only survive but to actually win some key moments. Later in the fight, Roach began walking Tank down, showing real confidence and fighting smart, which many didn't expect him to do.
But like, he wiped his face with a towel. You can't do that.
Right.
You can't do none of that. Right. That's a disqualification. You turned your back on the ref after you took a knee.
Legendary coach Teddy Atlas agreed with the majority of the boxing world, stating that Lamont Roach was robbed of his victory. While Atlas didn't go as far as to call it a huge robbery, he acknowledged that it was a close fight with many tight rounds. I think Roach deserved to get his hand raised, but I'd have to watch it again, he said. He pointed out that Tank Davis had the edge in the middle and early rounds, landing nice shots and working the body as he usually does. But Roach made a strong push in the later rounds, possibly earning a win or at least a draw. Atlas also noted a curious moment around the 5th round, where Tank, typically known for his arrogance and bad boy persona, tapped Roach on the gloves and said, "Hey bud, good round." "We've never seen that before," Atlas said. Tank's usual attitude is one of disdain, making opponents feel like there's no escape and he's the boogeyman of the sport. But this gesture of sportsmanship stood out. Atlas quickly caught it and pointed it out during a live stream, suggesting that Roach definitely noticed this shift in Tank's behavior, which could have been a subtle psychological message in the fight.
He got away with it, but the sport let him get away with it. There's nothing wrong with the fighters. It's the administrators of this sport that there's a lot wrong with. And there is. And you see it. And we shouldn't keep seeing it. It's got to be stopped. A referee, that is not in the rule book. You get hit with a jab. I know there was a second or two in between. Sometimes you see a delay, knockdown, whatever. The punch didn't hurt him. I understand that. But he got hit a jab, and then a second, 2 seconds later, he takes a knee. Guess what? I'm sorry. that constitutes a knockdown.
Teddy Atlas continued, emphasizing how crucial that moment was for Roach's mindset. If I'm in Roach's corner, and they did a great job, I'd point that out as soon as he gets back. I'd say, you're getting to this guy. He doesn't do that. He's making a concession, admitting you're getting to him. This is different tonight. You're making him feel vulnerable. Atlas pointed out that while he doesn't know if Roach's corner said that, it was clear Roach was gaining confidence round by round. He looked like a different, bigger guy as the fight progressed. Atlas then made an interesting analogy, comparing Roach's growth in the fight to the sponges he used to buy for his grandkids, which would expand when placed in water. That's what Roach was doing, getting bigger right before our eyes, he said. Atlas believes Tank's gesture, touching gloves, was a clear sign that Roach was affecting him. Of course, Roach saw it, felt it, and knew what it meant. It meant Tank was giving in a certain way. While Atlas didn't want to overstate it, he noted that in a fight against such a dangerous, seemingly unbeatable opponent, all Roach needed was a small sign of vulnerability. That little opening could make all the difference.
And after a punch somewhere around there, that's a knockdown. There is, again, we're not in football. There are no fair catches here. You know what I mean? And if it was, to your point last night when I said it, it would be a touchback. You know what I mean? It would, if you took a knee in a certain situation, it would be a touchback. You know, I mean, there were rules for a reason. Unless even Crawford came out.
Teddy Atlas had nothing but praise for Lamont Roach, saying that suddenly, Roach made Tank Davis show a crack in his usual persona. Roach saw it, felt it, witnessed it, and was part of it. He thought, I'm on the right path. I needed that assurance, that verification. I'm getting to him. Tonight's different, Atlas said. From that point on, Roach started backing Tank up, doing what Atlas himself would have been worried about in the fight, but with tight defense behind his jab and short, controlled punches. He started bossing him around, becoming the boss of the fight. Atlas, known for his long-standing feud with Mike Tyson, couldn't help but draw a parallel between Tank Davis and Tyson. It happened with Mike Tyson, if we're getting down to the truth, Atlas remarked. When you depend on intimidation. I'm not saying Tank did it to the degree Tyson did, but Tyson did, and that's part of the mix. When the guy doesn't get intimidated, you become the intimidated. A little bit of that happened here. Atlas made it clear that Roach fought a hell of a fight and deserved tremendous credit. He went into the lion's den and came out unscathed, backing Tank up. It's a win for him, Atlas said, adding that while Roach didn't walk away with Tank's belt, his performance was a victory in its own right. His stock goes up, and we can't wait for that rematch.
Crawford, pound for pound, one of the best fighters in the world, in the top three, between him, Inoue, and Usyk, right? I got Usyk first. I got him and Inoue right there. I think Usyk deserves to be first after what he's done, putting together the heavyweight title, the whole thing, the whole shebang. But Crawford came out and said, I didn't know that was a rule. I guess I was sleeping when they passed that one. I guess I was taking a nap, or maybe I was out doing road work. He didn't say that, by the way. I'm just adding that to it. But I must have been busy doing something with that rule. That is not a rule. I said it earlier. This is not the Indianapolis 500. You can't go into pit row. That you need your oil.
The controversy surrounding Gervonta, Tank Davis' fight with Lamont Roach has had a ripple effect on other potential matchups, including a much-anticipated showdown between Davis and Jake Paul. Plans for an exhibition match between the two were reportedly in the works following Paul's victory over Mike Tyson last November. However, those discussions have come to a halt after the contentious draw with Roach, especially following the seizure of Davis' boxing license. Had Davis won the fight against Roach, it's likely that a bout with Paul would have been scheduled for the summer. Instead, the fight was declared a majority draw, with two scorecards showing 114-114 and one showing 115-113 in favor of Davis. With Davis' license now suspended, the possibility of a fight with Jake Paul seems less likely for the time being.
Place there, two quality fighters, short punches, putting them together on the inside, that's science. I know a lot of people say, no, Teddy, that's fire. That's offense. That's aggression. No, that's the sweet science. You can do the sweet science and be aggressive. You don't have to do it on the outside only. You don't have to do it only, with separation. You don't have to do it only.
Ringside at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, Jake Paul watched as the drama unfolded between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach. However, Paul's own future fight plans have now been thrown into uncertainty. With a potential Davis vs. Roach rematch now on the horizon, dates for the fight are being discussed for either June 21st at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas or June 28th, with Atlanta or Miami as possible host cities. Earlier, Davis had thrown down the gauntlet to Paul, calling him out in a social media post. "This is my call out. Jake Paul, what up Jake Paul?" Paul quickly responded, taking a shot at Davis, calling him Floyd's little son, and saying, "Come on little tank, you know better." Despite the back-and-forth banter, a professional showdown between Davis and Paul would be highly unlikely, given the significant difference in their weight classes. Davis typically fights in the lightweight division at 135 pounds and sometimes drops to super featherweight at 130 pounds, while Paul's weight class sits much higher, making it difficult to imagine a sanctioned fight between the two anytime soon.
Is Jake Paul someone you'd want to take on at one point?
Yeah, tell him this is my call out. Jake Paul, what up? What up, Jake Paul?
12 rounds of action, we go to the scorecards. Judges at ringside with the scheme. And then while we fell, both scored at 119 to 109. Judge Tom scored at 120 to 108. All in favor of the winner by unanimous decision.
The contrast between Jake Paul's cruiserweight stature and Gervonta Davis's lightweight frame is undeniable. Paul recently weighed in at 227 pounds for his fight with Tyson, which is far heavier than Davis's typical weight class of 130 to 135 pounds. This stark difference in weight was one of the key factors in why a professional fight between the two seemed impractical. The idea for a crossover bout between Paul and Davis was inspired by Logan Paul's 2021 exhibition match with Floyd Mayweather, where Logan weighed in at 189.5 pounds, while Mayweather was a full 34.5 pounds lighter at 155 pounds. Speculation suggests that a similar arrangement could have been made for a potential Davis-Paul bout, but the weight disparity remains a major hurdle that as for Tank Davis's seized license. It remains to be seen whether the WBA will reverse its decision or if they'll move forward with the rematch. Given the controversy surrounding the first fight and Davis's suspension, there's a lot of uncertainty regarding what the next steps will be. It could be a turning point for both Davis and the WBA in terms of how they handle situations like this. Thank you for staying tuned for the latest updates on the world of boxing. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for all the best news, moments, and events, and don't forget to turn on notifications to get alerted when we drop new content. Until next time, peace out.